What's up? It's my hero pose. Takes the edge off. There's a video on it. A TED Talk. Check it out. It's good. It's good. I didn't tuck my chin. Why you gotta give me a complex right before I talk in front of people? You're always doing that, Mom. Are we moving this table? No? No, it doesn't bother me. I think they mentioned they were going to move it once they close the curtain because you're moving the flags. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem, followed by the invocation by Chaplain Douglas.
I invite you to pray in your faith tradition as I pray in mine. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we have gathered this morning to celebrate the completion of RCOO Class 2302. These past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind of instruction, mentoring, testing, and the molding of the lives of these 66 officers into leaders that their respective Guard and Reserve units require. The culmination of their training has revealed a strengthening of their values, leadership, and potential. And I pray that each of the men and women in front of me will choose to build upon what has been poured into them beyond these walls here at this great institution. Please help these officers to become the leaders and health care providers that their home units need them to be. And Father, help them to not settle for doing the minimum, but to be extraordinary, so that all the airmen that are under their care can do what they need to do to get back and to continue to do their jobs of defending our freedoms. I ask that you bless them, guide them, and protect them as they return to their respective homes, families, and civilian lives. May they know that they carry a part of us with them, even though they were here for only a short time. Thank you for the leadership here at OTS, and specifically the 24th Training Squadron. Each of them has invested a part of themselves into seeing that the finest product possible would be returned to the Air National Guard and to the Air Force Reserves. They have worked hard. Please give them each a special measure of blessing and grace before the next task are presented to them. And finally, thank you, Lord, for all that you are and all that you do for us. For without you, we would be nothing. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Douglas, for the beautiful invocation. Please take your seats. Good morning. I'm Major Jacob Ferris, and I'll be your narrator for today's ceremony. On behalf of the Commandant, Officer Training School, Colonel Keolani Bailey, we welcome you to the graduation ceremony honoring Officer Training School Reserve Commissioned Officer Orientation Class 2302. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the official party. The Commandant, Officer Training School, Colonel Keolani Bailey. The Commander, 24th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Edwards. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 24th Training Squadron, Technical Sergeant Samuel Anderson. And our special guest for today's ceremony, Flight Commander, 24th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Brenda Brinkley. We would also like to welcome some of the following distinguished guests with us. Please hold your applause until all the members have been introduced. The Vice Commandant, Officer Training School, Colonel Derek Iwaninko. The Commander, 24th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Tanisha Saunders. The Commander, 217th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Loy. And then, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd also like to extend a warm welcome to all other commanders, chiefs, senior leaders, airmen, and guardians who have joined us in the room or via YouTube Live for this special occasion. Officer Training School is a challenging total force officer development program that builds warrior-minded leaders of character committed to our oath, values, and creed. In today's Department of the Air Force, airmen and guardians may be called upon to accomplish missions that are difficult in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environments. Our officers are not only expected to be morally and physically courageous, but also model resilience and hardiness of spirit as they serve and lead airmen and guardians to fly, fight, and win anytime, anywhere. To ensure our officers can meet these high standards, Officer Training School challenges trainees with a rigorous and demanding training schedule, which include expeditionary skills training, warrior challenges, team-building obstacle courses, academics, drill and ceremonies, leadership evaluations, including developmental positions in the flight and squadron level, as well as much, much more. The citizens of our country can be extremely proud of the men and women who have answered their nation's call to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. RCOO Class 2302 would now like to share with you part of their experience here at OTS via their class video. gentlemen, our guest speaker for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Brenda Brinkley. Lieutenant Colonel Brinkley comes to officer training school with a distinguished military career within the health profession community. She's been a nurse for over 2 decades and has served her country stateside and abroad. We are proud to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Brinkley.
Good morning, class. I am Lieutenant Colonel Brenda Brinkley. Having been at this for better than 20 years, I look backwards at a career of helping airmen accomplish the mission, while also considering, as it seems to me anyway, that I really haven't been anywhere. I don't have stories of war and glory to impart, but my husband, a master sergeant of this side of 38 years of service with over 26 global deployments, calls me a home station hero. In merging the not-so-subtle mockery of a career at home with the steadfast reality that over the years I have made an impact. It's hard for me to see and even harder to hear, except in it there is a truth when I listen. Listening turns out to be the key to success. Many of you have spent the last years of your lives concentrating on adding letters to the back of your name: RN, PA, MD, PhD. Now it's time to focus on adding letters to the front of your name: Captain, Major, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General? Maybe, if you listen well enough. It is perhaps the most challenging and important charge that you have. While you were pursuing your advanced degrees, you listened, mostly on your own behalf, to your professors. You had graduation in mind, and rightly so. You took from there what you needed to move to the next level. As you arrived here, for half of you this was brand new. For the other half, it seemed perhaps it would be old news, maybe the same old saying from days gone by, right? For all of you, I expect that you encountered something entirely new. You listened to your MTIs. You listened to your flight commanders. You listened to the squadron commander and the commandant. You listened and you discovered, and you are better for it. While wearing the uniform with the officer rank affixed, you discovered the duality of your roles. You discovered that you have an obligation to be your best self, officer and provider, officer and administrator, officer and professional. You listened and discovered that the airmen and the families that you care for do not measure your worth by calendar days, points towards retirement, or good years. You will be measured against yesterday's heroes with today's standards and tomorrow's leaders. You must listen to them. Listen to the lessons learned at great cost. Listen to the airmen who work with you and for you and around you. Listen to your patients and their families. Listen and discover. Everyone around you will be better for it. Listen now for a moment to some words of wisdom that I compiled from enlisted heroes over the years. You can't lead from the back. You must lead from the front. Be out there with your troops as often as you can. Lead by example. Be knowledgeable of your job and your role. Be flexible, firm, open-minded, and fair. Take the time to get to know your people. Build relationships and take care of your people. Eat what your troops eat. Give clear directions. Don't be vague, hoping for creativity. Be open to giving and receiving sincere, open, honest feedback, and understanding that leadership is just as much about being a follower sometimes. In closing, if you don't remember anything else, remember the words of these faithful airmen. And if you embody the type of leader that they're all talking about, your troops too will go to the end of the earth and back for you. Listen to them and become better for it. Thank you, and I wish you a great, successful career.
Ma'am, thank you so much for your remarks and all you do for Officer Training School and the warfighters across the Department of the Air Force. It's an honor to have you as part of our team, ma'am. Okay, we will now proceed with the graduation procession. I would like to welcome to the stage Lieutenant Colonel Edwards, who will present the certificate for the graduate of RCOO Class 2302. Once your name has been called, please make your way to the stage. To my left, your right. At this time, we will recognize our newest OTS graduates. Please hold your applause until all members of your flight have been called. First Lieutenant Matthew Christian, Physician Assistant 916th AMDS Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Captain Ismael Colon Fernandez, Physician 156th MDG Det 1 Muniz Air National Guard. Second Lieutenant Crystal Kernoble, Critical Care Nurse, Fairchild Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Sean Doherty, Physician's Assistant, 102nd MDG Det 1 Otis Air National Guard. Second Lieutenant Stephanie Jones, Critical Care Nurse, 166th Delaware Air National Guard. Captain Andrew Martin, Physician's Assistant, Westover Air Reserve Base. First Lieutenant Jenna McCaffrey, Emergency Trauma Nurse, 102nd MDG Det 1 Otis Air National Guard. First Lieutenant Zarina McCaughlin Young, Physician's Assistant, 102nd MDG Det 1 Otis Air National Guard. Captain Chandy Presnell, Physical Therapist, Travis Air Force Base. Captain Jason Richter, Physician's Assistant, 101st MDG, Maine Air National Guard. Easy, big guy. Captain Comfort Sofa Yo, Family Nurse Practitioner, 49th AMDF Dias Air Force Base. Captain Grant Talbert, Dentist, Maxwell Air Force Base. Second Lieutenant Kenneth White, Clinical Care Nurse, Scott Air Force Base. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 410. From the Spartan Student Squadron Flight 411, Second Lieutenant Trevor DeSimone, ICU Nurse, 102nd MDG Otis Air National Guard. First Lieutenant Mallory Ermakov, ER Nurse, 459th ASTS Andrews Air Force Base. Captain Anna McLeod, PA, 434th AMDS, Grimsum, Indiana. Major Andrew Matthews, internist, 193rd SOMDG, Fort Indian Town Gap. Captain Hugh Wynn, flight nurse, 403rd ASTS, Keesler Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Brian O'Donnell, flight nurse, 349th AES, Travis Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Dealey Park, PA, 452nd ASTS, March Air Force Base. Second Lieutenant Alexander Prince, MSc MRO, 116th MDG, Robbins Air Force Base. Second Lieutenant Kylie Rhines, ICU Nurse, 193rd SOMDG, Det, Fort Indian Town Gap, Pennsylvania. Second Lieutenant Aliana Sanders, OR Nurse, 952nd MDS, Scott Air Force Base. Captain Sarah Smith, MP, 442nd MDS, Whiteman Air Force Base. Captain Hutch Stinglebauer, ER Physician, 720th OSS, SOTS, Nellis Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Alex Torres, ICU Nurse, 944th MDS, Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 411. Families, you guys can run up and take pictures. Yeah, go on up. From the Spartans Flight 412. Second Lieutenant Gabriel Baumgartner, Flight Nurse, Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland. Captain Taryn Burkhart, Optometrist, 167th Airlift Wing, West Virginia. Second Lieutenant Hannah Hobart, Clinical Nurse, Joint Base, Lewis McChord, Washington. Major Adizi Howard, physician, 452nd ASTS, March Air Force Base, California. Captain Zachary Latimer, critical care physician, CERFP, 157th Air Refueling Wing, Peace Air National Guard, New Hampshire. First Lieutenant Travis Laverne, physician's assistant, 514th Air Mobility Wing, McGuire, Joint Base McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey. Second Lieutenant Zachary Parrish, flight nurse, Joint Base, Lewis McChord, Washington. Captain Daniel Pod, physician assistant, 105th Airlift Wing, Stewart Air National Guard, New York. Captain Stephen Probst, emergency services physician, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. Probst, my bad. Captain Matthew Russell, flight surgeon, 157th Air Refueling Wing, Peace Air National Guard, New Hampshire. Captain Rich Stowe, physician's assistant, 141st Air Refueling Wing, Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. First Lieutenant Angela Valencia, clinical care nurse, 194th Wing, Camp Murray, Washington. Captain Israel Velasquez, clinical care nurse, 932nd Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 412. From the Spartan Student Squadron, Flight 413, First Lieutenant Abambalo Adebayo, clinical care nurse, McGuire Air Force Base. Captain Arena Baum, flight nurse, Andrews Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Brian Castile, operating room nurse, Travis Air Force Base. Major Jabbar Fazeli, flight surgeon, Bangor Air National Guard Base. Captain Jeree Frost, flight nurse, Tinker Air Force Base. Flight surgeon, Tinker Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Christopher Funke, health administrator, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. First Lieutenant Jessica Hall, clinical dietitian, Youngstown Air Reserve Station. Second Lieutenant Abigail Henkel, immunization officer, Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base. Captain Reginald Hurt, Flight Surgeon, Dobbins Air Reserve Base. Major Christopher Ivey, Emergency Service Medicine, Maxwell Air Force Base. Captain Coley King, Critical Care Nurse, Dobbins Air Reserve Base. Captain Michael Wilhelm, Nurse Anesthetist, Bradley Air National Guard Base. Captain Amy Wyant, Physician's Assistant, 171st Air Refueling Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 413. From the Spartan Student Squadron, Flight 414, Captain Danielle Pasquale. I think I jacked it up again. Clinical Care Nurse, Niagara Falls, New York. I forgot. Captain Amy Donahue, Physical Therapist, NAS JRB, Fort Worth, Texas. Captain Michael Eichler, Flight Surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin. Second Lieutenant Vivian Ellis, Health Services Administration, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. First Lieutenant Aaron Flynn, Emergency Medicine, PA Stewart, Air National Guard Bureau, New York. Captain Tim Kalkman, Emergency Medicine, PA, Rosencrantz, Air National Guard Bureau. Captain Johnny Kim, Clinical Pharmacist, Otis, Air National Guard Bureau. Captain Laura Knight, Physician's Assistant, NAS JRB Belle Chase, Louisiana. First Lieutenant Jessica Lebreco Fernandez, Physician's Assistant, Stewart, Air National Guard Bureau. Captain Sinetu Emba, CCAT, Burlington, Vermont. Second Lieutenant Max Onderich, Clinical Care Nurse, Selfridge, Air National Guard. Major Lorenzo Palladino, Flight Surgeon, FS Gabreski Air Force Base, West Hampton. First Lieutenant Katie Stockdale, Health Services Administration, Schriever Space Force Base, Colorado. First Lieutenant James Stringer, Physician's Assistant, Stewart, Air National Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 414. Thank you, students. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Edwards and Sergeant Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause for the graduates of RCOO Class 2302. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the Commandant, Officer Training School, Colonel Kehlani Bailey.
Great job. Good morning, RCOO 2302. Good morning, sir. Congratulations. Thank you for choosing to serve, always with honor. Thank you to especially the family and friends that are here in person and that have dialed in to be a part of this ceremony. Thank you for your support for these warriors, wingmen, and leaders. Thank you for all that you've done to help them make it here and to support them on their journey of service. I want to introduce the family and friends to our OTS professionals, our staff and instructors. These OTS professionals that you see here from the 24th Training Squadron and the support agents, the support squadron, and the other people behind the scenes to make this happen. These professionals are dedicated to owning the mission. They purposefully develop as leaders within the profession of arms with pride, passion, and unity. They teach and are taught. They lead and they learn, or they lead and they are led. They identify and push beyond their limits with courage, resilience, and a hardiness of spirit. They model the way with a relentless pursuit of excellence, always with honor. During the last 2 weeks, they've invested their best to educate, train, and develop these RCOO graduates to become warrior-minded leaders of character. And they have done it with honor. Thank you to the 24th and the OTS professionals that have dedicated so much to this class. Let's give them a big round of applause. Their ADO, Major Walker, she's got a lot of enthusiasm. And she's the one sporting the shield and running here, so they've been blessed to have her at the helm. Let's talk briefly about honor. Always with honor. Let us remember, let us honor those that helped us get here. Let us remember them and honor them. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your story. Let us honor your brother. Let us honor your why you choose to serve. With that compelling why, we can live with anyhow, anyone. Let us honor our why we choose to serve, what binds us together as sisters and brothers in the profession of arms. Our why, to support and to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Our why. Let us honor our responsibilities and opportunities as warriors to serve with moral courage, physical courage, resilience, and a hardiness of spirit, to live with honor, upholding our core values: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Let us honor our responsibility and opportunity as wingmen to lift others to their best possible selves, to challenge, support, develop, and inspire. Let us honor our responsibilities and opportunities as leaders to elevate performance towards a common and noble purpose, because better has no limit. Let us honor our responsibilities and opportunities as warrior-minded leaders of character, with a disciplined mindset, willing to accept, challenge, persevere, and overcome in the service of others. For me, our motto, our OTS motto, for me personally, always with honor, means striving to valiantly serve God, family, country, and you, our airmen and guardians. Always with honor means we embrace the shared legacy of valor, and we never forget our missing comrades, those who have paid and gave that last full measure of devotion. Let us honor them. I challenge you as OTS graduates and alum to press forward as total force leaders committed to our oath, our values, and our creed, to live, to serve, and to lead, always with honor. May God bless you in that journey, and may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Colonel Bailey, and thank you again to Lieutenant Colonel Brinkley. Congratulations to all of our graduates. We wish you the best as you fly, fight, and win, always with honor. Ladies and gentlemen, this will conclude our graduation ceremony for RCOO Class 2302. Thank you all for coming or tuning in via YouTube. We ask that you please rise for the first verse of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party.
OTS, carry on!